Okay, so here's what's going to happen. It's late in the day, and because it's late in the day, we get tired. And what we were thinking is you're a real professional and very charismatic and a good talker. So David and I are going to kick back and we're going to relax and let you talk.
I see how this is going.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Introduce yourself.
Dipesh Modi, owner of Kinderman's Auto Repair in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
So you're at home.
I am 3 miles from here.
Very cool.
Home and shop.
Nice.
2 different directions.
All right. 3 miles one way, 3 miles the other way.
Right.
Total of 9 miles somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So you've been coming to Tools. I mean, you've been at every Tools that I've been at.
Okay. Yeah. I think this is my 4th year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like the venue move?
Well, yeah, because it's 3 miles.
Okay.
About $1,500 less.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I didn't have to buy 8 rooms this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this venue better.
Yeah.
I think I like this venue. It wasn't that Kalahari was bad.
What are you talking about? There's no water park. I don't see a water park.
Did you use the water park?
Did I? Yeah.
Oh. What classes did you skip?
I never go to classes. I don't go to the classes.
Here's the thing.
Do you go to the classes?
What?
Yes.
Let's be real.
Lies. No shop owner goes to class. They show up and then
How
they come
far-
hang
It's
out.
in the name, shop owner
How far is it
on
from
learning.
How far is it from where we're at right now to get up there?
2.5 hours.
Is it that far?
It's a good way.
So, the thing that we're both really depressed about is that we're going to have to catch another flight to Allentown just so we can go eat at Water's Edge. And that's become a real problem for us.
I don't think I've eaten there.
Well, how are all of these locals unaware of this?
Dude, I would have gone.
Allentown is not local.
Well, I know, but it's you're in Pennsylvania, okay? Like this is state level travel the state to go to the restaurant. We're talking about traveling across the country to go.
That
eat
other
there.
restaurant we went to was fantastic
No,
too.
Yeah.
You've been
Memory
duped.
or whatever.
There's no water in Allentown. So
No, it's up. It's
how
like
can
right
they call it
above.
Water's Edge.
It's right above Kalahari, and so it's actually
Not
in.
above. It's next to a lake.
No,
There's
that's what I'm
like
saying. It's
There's a little
just
lake
north
next
of-
to Kalahari, and it's next to the lake, so they call it Water's Edge.
Dude, it is so good.
Yeah, we several years in a row ate at Dasaki, I think it was called.
Dude, this place is. This is like this. We travel around this country pretending to do a podcast about auto repair so we can go to nice restaurants and eat. Water's Edge is our favorite restaurant of all of them.
You know, they have podcasts about that too. So
About food.
Maybe we should do that too.
it's on TV and everything.
Dude, I just can't believe you're not eating up there.
No, I can't do the spiky hair, goofy sunglasses.
Stop talking about Jimmy Lee. He's not in here to defend himself.
Yeah, right. So
He'd be good at that. He just had to frost the tips,
years
and
ago,
he'd be good.
a bunch of us at the dealership thought we should join a bowling team, right? League, right? So we would go once a week after work. It was literally across the street to the bowling alley and join the league. And every time your turn was up, we were in the bar, right? And so
This bowling league went very sideways.
So what we discovered after this season of bowling was we were just there to drink.
Yes.
So the bowling was getting in our way. So why don't we just go drinking?
Listen, I tried to take my technicians bowling once, and I was a little embarrassed that they all had to have that little stand that you put the ball on, and they had to have bumpers. And I was like, I don't think I'm doing this
So
again.
my point is just do what you mean.
Yeah. See, David, I've been telling you. Well, actually, you're the one who wants to start a mac and cheese truck and a mac and cheese podcast.
I'm not a podcast, but a mac and cheese truck.
That's my retirement plan. A hot dog.
Yeah, but
A hot dog truck or a stand or
Cart. Stand,
David
truck.
has to do mac and cheese because he
Any of the
doesn't like
above.
mac and cheese, and he loves wieners. So he's going to gobble those suckers right up.
You know, you can only have so much of one thing, though.
I don't know. I hear he gobbles the footlongs down like crazy.
Little known fact, I've eaten a Nathan's hot dog off of the stage at the National Hot Dog.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've been probably 3 times to Coney Island for that.
Now, tell me, was it one that somebody had already tried to eat, or
No, because that's disqualification if you what do they call it?
Regurgitate, you throw up, yeah.
Yeah, whatever the term they call it. But no, it was obviously the pile of hot dogs that didn't get eaten. They passed them out in the crowd.
That's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
No advertisement for Coney Island hot dogs, but they weren't that great. Because we did eat at the restaurant too then, but the ones off the stage were cold and horrible.
Oh man! Well, I mean, they're optimized for swallowing, not for
Why a hot dog stand though? What?
Who doesn't like hot dogs?
Yeah, I get that, but
500% markup.
yeah.
What?
For me, it's the hours though. So if I do the mac and cheese thing, I can do like 10:30 to 7:30 shift. So I can just be there at the truck. It's not late in the day. I get up early enough that I can go prep the food, and then I can hang out for lunch and dinner, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's not the hours; it's the location. You can do as much business in one location in 3 hours that you can do in another location in 8 hours.
I'll edit that out. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. But also, if you have the right location, and also you're open late on a weekend, everybody's streaming out of the club and they're hungry. Right. That's all the burrito places and the taco trucks. That's where they set up to catch all the drunk crowd.
Right. But people are hungry more than just that.
Yeah.
They're hungry all the
time. They don't
time.
care what they eat though at those hours. And they're like,
that's
mac and cheese.
That's the kind of food you're serving.
I'm gonna have 2 things on the menu. 2 things on the menu: regular or fancy. That's it. Regular mac and cheese or fancy mac and cheese.
You gotta raise your prices at those hours.
Yeah, dude. That's exactly.
I'm not gonna be open those hours. That's what I'm saying. I'm just gonna set up one place.
No. The what got me was years and years and years ago. When I first started driving in front of the DMV, there was a guy with a hot dog cart.
Yeah.
I was there every day selling hot dogs and sodas. Made 6 figures a year.
Yeah.
Until they ran him off because they opened a cafeteria in the DMV, right? But yeah, like it's not a bad business.
No, it's really not.
You can travel with it.
The celery salt is the key.
Just take your hot dog cart with you and sell some hot dogs and make some money and keep moving.
I'm telling you, celery salt is the key. That's how you make a good hot dog.
Celery salt
and a little bit of celery salt.
You're not talking about boiled hot dogs.
No.
Are you talking about boiled? What are you doing?
You gotta grill them.
Grill them?
You can't
have you seen that place in New Jersey that deep fries them?
I don't know if I've seen that place.
Yeah, they have deep fried hot dogs, and they just have them, sitting in a vat.
I mean, you could.
What are you doing?
Pre-cook them, but you gotta have char on them a little bit.
Yeah. No, the bowling thing doesn't work. The bowling thing doesn't work.
Impromptu review of G Fuel blueberry muffins. It is disgusting.
Well, we all know how you like muffins.
I do like muffins.
How's the top on that muffin?
It's not very good. All of it is bad. It kind of tastes like blueberry muffins. It's not something you want to drink. When you think of blueberry muffins, it's like that would be a really good drink. No, there's lots of things that you could be like. Do you know why you have that
energy drink?
Because your
friend
tried it.
Cared so much about you that he.
I'm just telling you, never buy blueberry muffins. G Fuel.
It smells like blueberry muffins.
It does. It's so gross. It tastes terrible.
You know why you actually have it though? Is that when I stopped at the store? Okay, so I leave the airport taxi driver, getting the thing, take off, head up.
I'm going to power through that one.
And I explained to him, I said, hey, it's because it's hot. I said, hey, I need to stop at a gas station. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a gas station over here in this parking lot. And homeboy rolls up in this gas station. And like, it's just a little shack where the gas station attendant sits.
Sure.
Right? It's just gas pumps. It's not a convenience store.
Oh, no, maybe he thought you were going to pump his gas for him.
I asked him, I'm like, bro.
That's what he thought.
I was actually needing to get some drinks. He's like, he's like, I should have thought about the fact that you were riding in a taxi. Why would you need to go to a gas station? I'm like, dude, this guy's high. I don't know. I should be riding with him.
Yeah.
But no, the
He
reason
didn't get 5 stars, did he?
Oh yeah. I gave him 5 stars. It was cool. The reason that you got that is because I saw another flavor. There's a snow cone flavor, but I already had that under my arm, and I had a bunch of other stuff in my arm, so I couldn't set that one down. And then I looked at it, and I was like, that sounds kind of disgusting. Maybe I don't want that one. I'm gonna give that to David. How
did you really think that blueberry muffins was going to be disgusting? You know what it tastes like? Little Hostess, like the little mini blueberry muffins. You know what I'm talking about? Little mini blueberry muffins that come in a little bag.
Yeah.
That aftertaste, after you bite one down, you get that
Wax.
hit of sugar and that waxy, like sweet, sticky, waxy flavor aftertaste. That's what it tastes like. That's all it tastes of is that.
Sticky, waxy flavor.
Yeah, with sticky, waxy, artificial blueberry flavor. It's not good. So this is a 0 out of 10 G Fuel. We'll never get a sponsorship now. They sponsor everybody, by the way. You just have to put a little bit of video games into your YouTube channel, and they will sponsor you.
As much as we play video games.
Do you still play video games?
Dude, you just don't play Call of Duty anymore, so you never see that I'm playing video games all the time.
I can't get into Call of Duty anymore.
How did you get into shop ownership?
How did I get into shop ownership? The dealership I worked for sold.
Yeah.
Didn't want to hire us. New owners.
Yeah.
Said we were making too much money. So I stayed with the dealer I was with at a different franchise.
Okay.
Had to take a pay cut and re-interview to work for the same company.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. It's like, if I'm going to relearn a new franchise and start all over again, I might as well do it on my own.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of, pressure from my father that was an entrepreneur himself. Always wanted me to have a business. So,
Right.
yeah, we looked for a place and found an existing business and signed everything going away, and
Yeah.
there you go.
Slide that mic a little bit closer to you. Just slide it.
Yeah, no, for
bit
sure.
closer.
I have no idea how anybody does it starting from scratch, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea, folks. If you're going to start an automotive repair, buy an existing one, or don't do it.
So how long had the shop that you bought been in business?
I would say 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was well established.
Third
That's good.
owner. So the previous owner bought it from the person that started it.
Okay.
Obviously his name was Kinderman. And second owner was not a Kinderman, but kept the name. And then he had it 14 years, and I bought it.
Okay.
Did not change the name either because
It's established. Why change it?
established, right, and wasn't a bad reputation. So
You do a lot of training. What got you into the training?
I'm an ATI shop.
Okay.
Okay. So, years into business, you start seeing the money go away, and you're wondering what's happening, and
Yeah.
it's sink or swim time, and in comes a coaching company and says, hey, we can teach you how to run your business. And I bought in, not right away. I think
Right.
I went to 2 or 3, clinics before I bought in, but that was 7 years ago.
Okay.
So halfway through my ownership, and made a big difference. And through their training classes and coaching and stuff, I see the value in continued training. And they have their own conference, but this conference in particular was local, and I liked the fact that it was not just for owners like some of the other conferences.
Right.
It has a little bit for everybody in the shop. So I've been bringing my crew for the last 3 years. So
Right.
Obviously the continued training is a mandatory thing. So this is a good opportunity for them to
get the training in
get some
and
training in.
yeah. When you left the dealership, you went into your own shop.
Mm-hmm.
What were the things that you weren't prepared for? Like, what were the things that you just, because we keep seeing these people who go out and they leave a job and they say, I'm going to start my own thing. And then 4 years, 5 years down the road,
Mm-hmm.
they say, I wish somebody had told me about this.
Right.
What were the things that kind of caught you by surprise?
Everything other than fixing the car.
Right?
It's like, oh, yeah, I could fix cars. I'm good at that. Let me open a business. Yeah, that's not how it works. So that's where the coaching came in, teaching you the business side of it. But I would say one thing would probably be the customer service is where you're going to be successful, not necessarily in the cars you fix and working on it, but the relationship you build with your customer.
For sure. Yeah. I agree with you. I think that the majority of the situations that I see, and I think as technicians, we can fool ourselves into thinking that fixing the car is the big part of the business, right? Because to us, right, like especially when I was in that role, when I was the diagnostician in the shop and I was the guy who was fixing the cars, that felt like the whole shop. You know what I'm saying? Like because of my perspective where I was at, that felt like everything the shop did.
Right.
And that the customer service and the experience and all that came secondary.
Yeah. I mean, you could apply it to any industry. I mean, just throw out a widget, right? So fixing the car is the product. It's the widget, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, maybe your widget's better than the other guy's widget, but if you fail at everything else, they're never going to.
It doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter, right?
And that's the thing is like the consumer doesn't know what fixed properly is, right?
That's expected. It's automatic.
Right. And so they just assume like it doesn't matter whether it's $5 or $5,000, you're going to fix my car right. And so they don't know how to compare the difference between one shop and another. And so what sets us apart, what differentiates one shop from another is the experience we create for the consumer.
For sure. Yeah.
And I think that I think that is a major catching point for technicians who decide to start their own shop.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically the niche that ATI has taken over is the mechanic that start the business that can't run a business because they're not business minded, and help them do things properly. So I'm not promoting that company in particular, but coaching in general or training or any of these classes or simple as reading.
So something to open your eyes to what you don't know.
Correct. Yeah. So, what's the famous book, The E-Myth? Yeah. I mean, like that's where it all starts, right? You gotta understand that theory before you can move forward, right? So,
though, the problem being is that technicians are unwilling to see that right up until they can't pay their bills, right?
That's the direction I was headed.
Yeah. I wasn't headed that direction. I was smack dab in the epicenter of that direction, right? Like that's where I was.
Yeah.
I didn't have money to pay the bills. And I was fixing the cars really fucking well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were fixed great.
Earmuffs. Didn't you see the complaint? Was it Purdy? Purdy got a complaint. It was like, I was trying to listen.
No,
to
that
this
episode.
episode.
Purdy.
That was Purdy. I'm telling you.
He just shared it. That was the guy who did the subtle art of not giving an F podcast.
No.
What?
Are you sure? I thought maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
I want to point this out.
Yes.
That one day this cat is going to have dementia. Okay, based on the way he acts right now. Okay. And when that happens, you and I have a responsibility to convince him of things that did not happen that he now believes happened.
Like the blueberry muffin.
Yes, he loved that.
Yes.
You like this? You like this blueberry muffin? Hey, let me ask you. Let me ask you about something.
The wiener eating competition. Man, you were a champion wiener eater.
You love them wieners.
This is Nurse. I'm a champion wiener eater.
I get a call from a lady who says, "Hey, I handle a dementia case. Mm-hmm. The guy is going to a home in Chicago.
Yep.
Okay." He wants to drive his vehicle up there, but he can't drive. Like he's a danger to himself and others.
Yeah.
We need to convince him that the vehicle is undrivable and that he shouldn't drive it because anything else will set him off.
Sure.
So the vehicle's got to be undrivable. Okay. Can you help? How would you handle that situation? Now, when she showed up, she had been talking to my service advisor like over and over and over again, telling her about the situation. She shows up. And she's like, "Hey, Juan, how you doing?" And the guy's like, How do you know? Juan?"
Yeah.
Like now he's a little like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
Right.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, I bring my cars here, this, that, and the other." Now she's flat out lying.
Yeah.
Flat out lying. How would you handle that situation? Am I interrupting you? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Is this one of your stupid chats?
No, this is Jade. I have to answer it.
Oh, okay. How would you handle it?
Oh my. That's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
And it's probably more common than you think because I just had a customer in last week that's 99 years old and he'll be 100 next year, and he's worried about how are they gonna take my license from me when I'm 100?
Yeah.
And I said,
if they didn't take it at 99, they're not going to take it at 100, dude.
Well, they said at 90 he had to retest, which surprised me. But
yeah,
he said, "What am I going to do?" I said, "Well, where do you drive?" He said, "Nowhere." I said, "Oh."
Well, you worried about it then? Yeah.
I said, "Okay." Well, first I tried. I said, "Why don't you just hire somebody to drive you?" Well, I don't have that kind of money. I said, "Well, where do you need to go?" "Nowhere." I said, "Okay." So it wouldn't be that much money. Anyways, he said, "I just go to the VA once a month, but my daughter doesn't allow me to drive there, so she takes me."
Yeah.
Thinking, you don't need a car or a license.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure there's, like I said, families that deal with this all the time.
Yeah.
Where people don't want to let go of their cars when they shouldn't be driving.
Well, I would be a little hesitant to mess with it if it was just, hey, my dad shouldn't be driving, but this guy has a caseworker. He's out of it.
Yeah.
But it comes and goes, right? So he's maybe lucid, but then all of a sudden he's 32 again, and it's 1942, and he's out of it. And so, what we ended up doing was hey, let's just cut a wire that's benign and easily repairable by a shop, but like a layman wouldn't know. And no, it'll throw the check engine light, maybe cause a hard start, something like a crank sensor. You can cut it, and the car will still start off the cam sensor, but it may not start smoothly or reliably with a dead cam sensor or crank sensor, I should say, or either way.
So now you're in a car braking business.
Yeah, so now we're going to snip a wire, and then the car will be like, and then it starts out, check engine lights on. I wouldn't drive this to Chicago. Yeah. Now, my whole point, though, is I don't want to lie to the customer. I don't want to lie to the lady. Now, Juan played it off, and he's like...
It's an ethical issue.
Yeah, it's an ethics thing, and I don't want to lie. But at the same time, I can sympathize. I completely understand the situation. Yeah, I don't want that guy on the road, right?
You don't want to make her mad. You don't want to make him mad.
Yeah, like I need to play this, but at the same time, I don't want to lie.
Well, you don't want to lie, and the problem is
but the lady was like, and she was lying out through her teeth, and she was like, "Oh, it's okay because he's got dementia." I don't know where the line is. When is it okay to lie? Is it okay to lie?
I think the only ethical way is to not get involved.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Is that
there's we call them squirrels. There's squirrels every day come through the door. You don't have to get involved with every one of them.
Yeah. The thing of it is that there's a legal process that's supposed to be followed, and so by us interjecting ourselves into any given scenario like that, for instance, you go to a doctor, right? And the doctor is supposed to care for you. The doctor is supposed to determine what your condition is, and they're supposed to work to try and resolve the condition. Now, they often do a terrible, terrible job of it, right? There's no doubt. But I guess what I'm saying is that they can't do something that would harm you, right?
Correct.
And so they have a professional creed that says I can never do harm. I can't, especially intentionally. Unintentionally, like I get that's a mistake. But actively making a decision to disable something based on someone requesting you to do something when you don't own the vehicle, they don't own the vehicle, and you're doing this to someone else.
They have power of attorney.
Right, but this is a plan that she hatched up and using you as a means to get what she wants.
But she's got no way to, like, she doesn't know to disable the car. What she wanted us to do was she wanted us to just tell the customer that the vehicle was undrivable. And I told her, I said, look, I'm not okay with just making something up.
Right.
Like, so if there's something actually wrong with the vehicle, we'll let you know that there's something actually wrong with the vehicle. It's got a big oil leak. It's got a suspension problem. Tires are messed up. Something like that. Rendering the vehicle undrivable.
Sure.
Because it's in a broken condition. That is true of any situation. You can say, hey, the car, it needs an oil change. Yeah, Don't drive it.
But my point is, she came to you to make this car not drivable.
No. She wanted us to not
say it, right.
But if the car was in perfect working order,
she could have paid Tyrone to steal the wheels, and it would have been the same effect.
Yeah, I guess.
You see what I'm saying?
Or Taylor. Let's say Taylor. You're gonna get us canceled.
Oh God,
Taylor.
I didn't think
Taylor.
Think that through.
You're the racist one now.
What are you talking about?
You're the one who I know plenty of white Jeromes.
Tyra.
No, just kidding. I think we're just digging a bigger hole. Anyway.
I would probably not get involved.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, and I think that there's legal precedent for handling
for
it.
her to not get him to drive that car. She could have go that route.
I think this was a. I think this was a
last minute.
No. I think this was trying to keep the peace. In other words, she needs him to go to Chicago. He's agreed to go to Chicago, and the reason why it's because they need to put him in this place in Chicago. She has power of attorney. She could just forcefully get him to go, but I don't think she wanted to go down that road. Yeah. So she's like, "Hey, I've got agreed to him, but he's going to go, but he wants to drive himself because he's convinced that he can drive. He can't drive.
Yeah,
but he has this car now. I am now the owner of this car. This is now my car. I need to get rid of this car, but he still thinks it's his car and that everything's going to be fine. And he, because again, he's not all with it all the time. So
I have a new appreciation for this because of what's going on with Mom. Because 1 minute she knows who everybody is and she knows what's going on and everything's great. And the very next minute, man, and dude, this happened overnight.
Yeah.
Right? She has no clue. And so I have a new appreciation for that because
And that's why I'm sympathetic to the situation that they're in, because I don't think they want to tie him up and throw him in the trunk and then drive him to Chicago forcefully. They want him to want to go. And they've got him convinced that this is the best thing for him. But now they've got this, hey, now he wants to drive himself. What do we do? And it was a customer of mine who knew of the situation, and she's like, talk to my mechanic, he might be able to help. And that's why they called us. Yeah. And so now I don't want to just say no, because it's really my customer is asking me for this favor. So I don't just want to blow him off and be like, I can't do this. But at the same time, I don't want to lie to anybody. So I've got this like, well, okay, there's something. And I told her, I say, if there's something wrong with the car, this is a no-brainer for us. We'll just tell them, hey, it needs ball joints, don't drive it. It needs tires, don't drive it. It needs brakes, don't drive it. It's got an oil leak, don't drive it. But if the car's in perfect working order, I said, I thought it was an automatic. And I'm like, and it was a Honda. I'm like, I'll be honest with you, I can just unplug a shift solenoid. And the car won't shift out of second gear. It'll be in limp mode. It'll still be drivable. You can still move it around, but it won't shift out of second gear. It won't go past 30 miles an hour. She's like, oh yeah, do that. Yeah. Anyway, she drops the car off and she's like, it's a manual transmission. Like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Are you serious?
Well,
like, what are we supposed to do with it?
I don't really see the difference between just telling them something's wrong with it and actually making something wrong. I think making something wrong with it.
It's almost more dishonest than.
If the car's in perfect working order, she just wanted the car. She just may have wanted to make sure that he didn't get it and try to drive Chicago. But at the same time, they're like, "Hey, the check engine light's on, and it's a hard start." And you just tell them the condition. That's it. You don't drive it.
The consumer doesn't think about the legality or the precedent that it sets for the shop. Right? They look at this and they say, "Hey, I'm trying to protect this person. I'm trying to make this as painless as possible for all involved."
Yeah.
There's a legal standard that's set when you act as a professional, right?
Yeah.
And as a professional, you have a professional creed.
I didn't make the car unsafe though.
I understand that. It's not about it being
I don't know
unsafe.
what ended up happening. I wasn't even there. So I don't want you to think that I did anything. I'm not saying that. I'm asking how you would handle the situation. But I'm saying you didn't make the car unsafe. And you essentially created a condition that is entirely benign. The car's still movable. She can go get it fixed.
The only way that I would do this is that I would have a recorded telephone call or a video of the client saying, here's what I'm asking you to do. Here's why I'm asking you to do it. And on the repair order, I put very explicit instructions on how to correct the concern and what the concern was. The ticket would have to be in her name and the car would have to be owned by her. Or in that case, power of attorney, but then I have to have proof that she genuinely had power of attorney.
Yeah.
And at that point, then I would consider doing it.
I think they walked in with all that. Because they were kind of prepared for the, I don't want to mess with it.
I just think there's so many easier solutions.
Like what?
Back the car into a tree. It's wrecked. You can't take it.
Well, yeah, but like,
not for you. They don't
want to destroy a $10,000 car just to make sure Grandpa doesn't drive it. It's a $10,000 car,
right? But the whatever the repair on that would be is maybe more than what repair from you would be, but it's still similar.
Here's the thing:
I'm not going to destroy the engine, though. You see
I'm
what I'm
not
saying?
asking
Like,
you to. I'm just saying there's ways that could have been done without involving you.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say is no matter how you look at it, I don't think that I'd feel comfortable with somebody involving a third party in that, right?
I think it's unfair to ask.
And
flat tire
with
let
what
the
I've
air out of the tire.
Even beyond that, with what I've learned,
that's a pretty good solution.
Yeah.
Take the tire plugs out,
it's harmless.
The little Schrader valves, and hey, all 4 tires are flat. Somebody must have slashed them. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I don't have enough experience to be able to speak hardcore on this, but with what we're seeing with my mom, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can say over and over again, and then she'll start picking it back up. And, when she was in the hospital and things were like really rough there for a few days, we would say things and my brothers would be like, Mom, this is where you're at. Mom, this is where you're at. Mom, this is where you're at. And by the end of the day, she would say, this is where I'm at. If she got tired, she'd go downhill, you know what I mean? And it would change. And so the thing that I would say about this is that I don't think it's right for the person asking to cheap out, because to me, it feels like it's an excuse at that point. They need to be talking to the person. They need to be talking to the person's primary care physician and saying, hey, this is what we're up against. What do you suggest? What do you think we should do? Right? Because, if the primary care goes and says, hey, they should not be driving, right? An eye doctor can remove your driver's privileges. Mm-hmm. And so if the primary care says, hey, this is really unsafe, this is a danger to them, and this is also a danger to anyone on the highway, what are they going to say? At
the same time, though, you're like, you guys are still, you're trying to slough it off. I'm not saying that I should take I think they were looking for the easiest. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here, is what I'm saying. I think they're looking for the easiest, fastest solution to I need to get him to Chicago this weekend. He can't drive. It's going to be 3 months or 3 to 6 months to get him into the doctor. We had this with George, my father-in-law. Whenever he had to go see a new doctor, it was 3 to 6 months out, because that's what happens when you socialize medicine. Everybody wants to go in to see this doctor. Everybody. And so the line to get is 3 to 6 month wait. Okay, so now that they can't wait 3 to 6 months, it's this weekend, or it's next week, or it's a month from now, whatever. It's going to take too long to get to the doctor, or to have him go see somebody. His eyes are fine. To have him go see somebody that can then determine that, yeah, he's out of his mind. He's not safe to be on the road. So I can't get his license revoked in enough time. So they're like, okay, what's the next? And he turns belligerent. Maybe it becomes so combative that they have to then strap him down and get him hospital. It turns into a whole thing. So we can't tell him no. We've got to make this as soft as possible.
Yeah, I see the whole point. I really do.
The tire thing was smart though. That's that's probably what if the situation's still going on at the shop, that's what I want to tell her to do. It's like, hey, just take the air out.
This kind of comes full circle to the customer service side of it. It's okay to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do it in a way that you're not making the customer angry by recommending them to the other guy up the street.
That is it. That's what I was getting ready to say. Is I think that's how I'd handle it. Is I would say, hey, I'll be completely honest with you. I just don't think that this is something I can help with, but I might recommend.
You're gonna slough it off on somebody else. I don't know. I was looking for a easy solution, and so in my mind, I'm like, hey, do something benign that would cause the check engine light to kick on, but the car's still drivable, because I don't want to render the car useless. But I think the hey, all of a sudden the tires are flat. That's a good solution.
I think you put that monkey on your back when you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel for their situation.
Yeah.
But you got to think about the big picture, right? So, who did it benefit in all of that? Not you or your family or your employees.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about it's not going to take anything off of me or my family. I don't want to lie. That's first and foremost. I don't want to get into that situation.
Right.
So but at the same time, just to help, it's not going to hurt anybody or anything. I'm not that worried about liability from that standpoint, because as long as she had the paperwork all outlined, it's fine. It's whatever. She owns the car. She's got the power of attorney. She's got the right, or whatever it happens to be. I don't know.
So, let's say this somehow gets blown out of proportion and it gets to the media. How do you think that looks?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'd still be okay with it. I mean, I'd argue my point and be like, hey, at the end of the day,
it would cost you business?
I doubt it.
Bad
press.
Reviews.
You know what? There was I'm gonna tell you a story.
Yeah.
There was a shop that's owned by a guy who I used to sell parts to. He actually worked in the same store I did before I worked at that store. I come take over the store. I start running it. He decides he's going to open a shop. At the same time, he's an MMA fighter.
Oh, I remember this story.
And so he's now an MMA fighter / shop owner. This is a he's amped up and jacked.
Yeah.
Okay. He's just that kind of person. Tats all over him. He's that kind of guy. Anyway, he gets into it with this girl and beats the living hell out of her. His name is all over the media.
Sure.
And his name is on the business as well. The girlfriend's friends start, hey, this is this guy. He just beat up my friend. This is his business. His business got absolutely bombed with 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
150 1-star reviews come into his shop all of a sudden. And they're like, woman beater, assaulter, yada, 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 yada. All of these horrible things said to him. He's still in business. He's still doing just fine. And nobody cared.
Right.
Nobody cared.
Right, but that's because, it wasn't related to his business. It was his personal life, true. But people that read reviews read them for what they're going for. They're not going there to get beat up. They're going there to get their car fixed.
But at the same time, like, hey, am I really going to go to the shop of the guy that can turn violent like that? Obviously, that he didn't give two craps that this was his girlfriend, somebody that he had a relationship with, and someone physically smaller and weaker than him.
Sure.
This isn't like,
it's not a good look, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not an MMA fighter, but I'm not going in there and getting combative with that guy. I don't know he's gonna go off the handle. Yeah. And jujitsu me.
He's gonna Judy chop you.
He's gonna
Judy
get it. There's a meme going around, a reel, and it's a guy that he's in a jujitsu tournament, and he's like, I'm going to not get on the floor. That's my strategy. I'm going to see if this works. Anyway, so they're like, go. And he just stands there. And the opponent like drops to the floor, kicks his feet up, and he's like starts scooting at him, and he's going to try to grab him with his legs. And he just keeps like pushing him down. It's like, and he's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm not going to grapple on the floor. Like, we're going to fight standing up. And he's like, no, but this is jujitsu. He's like, yeah, I'm just not going to.
The floor looks dirty.
He's like, I'm just not going to get down on the floor, because apparently that's I don't know anything about the thing that
it's submission.
Immediately
Submission moves.
Yeah, it's immediately get on the floor, and the guy is winning because he's standing up, like whatever.
He's not nonconformist.
Yeah.
But obviously you're asking the question because you're conflicted a little bit, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I wanted to help. I wanted to help the situation.
At the end of the day,
and I was looking for the best way to help.
Yeah, I hate saying that because I've heard it a million times, but at the end of the day, you have to do what you can live with, right?
Yeah.
So
here's my takeaway.
You could hire the MMA guy to take out
there you go.
Hey, go beat up Grandpa. He said something bad about you.
Solve the problem.
Take care of this issue.
He cheated on you with. I hear this though, and I think about like this is a fairly high level discussion. In other words, this is a
Not
fairly
what we're used to.
Yeah, it's a complex. Well, it's a complex problem to solve, right? It's not just But I see shop owners all day, every day, making choices that they don't realize have legal bounds and potential repercussions for their actions. It's like the used tire argument, right?
Or the customer supplied parts.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
These shops make these decisions and they say, "Well, nothing's ever happened." Yeah, but like, man,
I'm
you're
just trying to help the guy out.
Right. You're just you're one decision away from.
It's just like insurance. You have it, you pay for it. Why?
Yeah.
In case something happens.
We have a local shop near me that has no insurance. They're not paying their sales tax. They're not paying their payroll tax. They're paying their employees cash.
They sound awesome.
Oh, you should see it. You should see it. It's special.
That's how I'm going to run my hot dog cart.
Me too. Me too. David?
It's all cash. I made $1 today. I don't know what happened. Use your 10 cents, government.
David, how are you going to run your wiener cart? Anyway.
I'm not going to have a wiener cart.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
I
That mac and cheese last night was good. You didn't try it. I'm just telling you it's good.
Thanks for rubbing it in.
I think it gave me a bellyache today, but
I was saving room for the Andes mints. That was the best hotel food I've ever had.
yeah, 10 out of 10.
What was the name out of it?
1700.
1700.
Yeah, it's good.
You guys ate there?
Yeah, in the Hilton.
High dollar.
It wasn't
Is it?
$100.
It was so cheap compared to what we normally spend.
I don't know where you guys eat then.
I'm telling you, I'm like, whoa, that was not that much.
They,
We had dessert too. You know what it was? You didn't order your stupid bourbons. He goes and he's like, do you have a bourbon list? And they bring out the bourbon list. And he's like,
I see the David
what's
E.
the-
sitting on the table over there.
That's
Brett's.
Yeah, that's Brett.
Okay.
And then he's like, do you have something more expensive than what you have? Oh, it's like, we have a fancy list. And they bring out the fancy list. It's like, I want this. It's bad when he knows the name. And he's like, I want Old Hammer's Moonshine Deluxe. Do you have Big Ice? When he knows the name, it's like, it's going to be $100. Every time.
Nice.
Have I been drinking any bourbon?
So is bourbon like in the lines of everything else where you get what you pay for?
Yes. Very much so.
You sure?
Very much so.
Like
He says that. But the
There's
problem is, like, you go to a restaurant, it's double the price that you can get at retail.
Here's the thing about bourbon. Okay, so like in North Carolina, there is a state-run ABC program, right? So it's all ran by the state.
That's Pennsylvania's.
And you can get really nice, really high-end bourbon, and it's got like an MSRP on it, and they can't sell it for more than that. But the problem is that there's a lot of favoritism in those stores, and they typically see the people who come in and buy alcohol all the time, and so they reserve those bottles back for them. So it's really hard to get some like of the high-end bottles. It's easier for restaurants to get high-end bottles that are complex to get. But it is definitely, you get what you pay for to a degree. Now, like if you get online and you see a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle for $15,000, is it a $15,000? No, man. You can buy something that is just as good for $120, right? Mm-hmm. You can buy it from the same distillery that probably came out of the same barrel for $120, but you're buying the brand name and you're buying the experience and you're buying the right. Mm-hmm. Now there's bottles of bourbon like Double Eagle Rare, right? And there's something special about it. Like the bottle, they take a crystal eagle, and when they make the bottle, they hand make the bottle and they put a crystal eagle in the bottom of it. And that's part of what you're getting.
Also
The
full circle.
stupidest thing ever heard ever.
The experience.
Yeah.
That's what you're paying.
Yeah, how are you going to do that with a wiener stand? We're like, see, every wiener, I stamp this special thing on the end and I shove a crystal something. So when you're chewing it, breaks your tooth. That's part of the experience. That is stupid. You pay extra for the Crystal Eagle handmade bottle
that you don't get to keep.
Just hold the bun. It comes with special sauce. You're a disgusting human being. You know that?
What are you talking about?
I can visualize it now.
I bet you can. Do you
awful.
visualize that often?
Him standing out front saying, "Have you seen my wiener?"
Ask me about my wiener.
I don't know. They both get you drunk, though, right?
Yeah. One has one is guaranteed to not get you drunk because you can't afford to drink enough of it to get drunk.
So it's not you get what you pay for.
It's
the experience.
You're paying for the experience. You're paying
the brand
for the
name.
Yeah, and it's the same thing as shops, right?
Yeah.
Like some people like Ruth Chris, some people like McDonald's, and sometimes they like Ruth Chris on one day and they like McDonald's on the next, right? Repair shops are the same thing, right?
No.
Oh, I got a Ruth Chris story.
No, they're not.
Ruth Chris's steaks suck.
No, they don't.
They're not that good.
Yes, they are. They're fantastic. What are you talking about?
The experience, and it's just not. It's not a Del Frisco Double Eagle.
My wife did not like the Del Frisco Double Eagle, and she was not impressed with the buns. I know. I've never been so close to divorcing her in my entire life. Like, what do you mean you're not impressed?
Dude,
she's like, they're okay.
We're
I'm
in
like,
Denver.
What are you talking about?
We're in Denver.
Pull the bun out. It's just drenched in butter. I'm like, look at this. Look at all the butter. My kids loved it. And my wife's like, meh. Oh, so
I think she does that to get under your skin.
I think she was. I think she was just
dude, we're in Denver
about something.
Right? and they bring this pan of rolls out, and it's like it's got 2 inches of boiling butter and honey in the bottom of it. And the rolls are kind of like just floating in this silver dish. By the fourth pan, okay, there's two rolls.
We didn't have 4 pans. We had maybe 3.
Big difference.
There's
6 rolls in each pan.
there's 2 rolls left in this pan, right?
Yeah.
And we've like finished eating. Dude, I'm engorged. I couldn't eat another bite if I wanted to, right? Like I'm so ready to throw up. And the busboy comes back by and he goes to pick up this pan of rolls. And David, I swear to God, almost took dude's arm off. Like David, like, no.
Don't take the bread away. Bread was good.
It was.
Anyway, Ruth Chris steaks are fantastic. I will say though, you can go to a lot of restaurants that are cheaper and you can get just as good a steak.
So my Ruth Chris story is 2 auto mechanics going upstate New York to get training for GM.
Yeah.
Right. Booked 2 classes on either end of the weekend, so we got to stay the weekend, right? So we went golfing, right? And coming back from golfing, we're like, let's find a steakhouse. Didn't know a thing about Ruth Chris. Like, oh, there's one. We pull in, right? We walk in, and they're looking at us kind of funny, right? They're like, you're not dressed for this place. Mind you, we went golfing, so we had the best clothes on we took with us as the mechanics, right?
Right.
At least a collared shirt, right? So we go in, we sit down, order the food, and we had a I don't want to say a budget from the company, but it was probably pretty expensive, and so we said to the server, because it's a la carte, right?
Yeah.
Like the sides. He's like, oh yeah, one side will be enough for both of you, and we're like, okay. So we each order steak and one side of steak fries, right? It comes out, there's 4 fries on the plate.
Oh my gosh.
Literally 4 steak fries. I was like, wow. So long story short, our bill was over 100 a person, and we went back to the hotel and ate cold pizza to fill up because we were still starving.
So the second
bigger
year
steaks. You got to know. You got a ribeye, 16-ounce ribeye. It'd be hard to be hungry after a 16-ounce ribeye.
First time that I ever went to a Ruth Chris was the second year we went to AST. Yeah. And I had George with me, and I can't remember who else was with me. And we sat in the parking lot of the hotel for like 20 minutes. Matt Cranford was there and a couple others. And I'm like, guys, where are we going to eat? And somebody said, well, I want steak. And I said, okay. I said, look, steakhouse. Searched on my phone. I said, somebody just tapped one of the things on the phone. Like held it up, kind of like Russian roulette with restaurants, and they tapped it. And it's Ruth Chris. Well, I didn't even look at the name of the restaurant, right? And like the shop is barely making it, right? This is the second year where we're really starting to fix things. And we show up to this place and we walk in, and Matt walks in, and Matt's got a hat on. And the lady's like, you got to take your ball cap off. And he said, I don't take my ball cap off. And she said, no, if you want to eat here, you have to take the ball cap off. I'll put it in the cabinet over here for you. And dude, I thought he was going to whip the hell out of this woman over trying to get his ball cap. And I mean, she was like going to reach up on top of his head and pull his ball cap off. And he said, I tell you what, I promise I won't put my ball cap on, but I'm going to keep that with me. And I'm not giving it to anybody else. And we sit down and eat, and it was like $1,700. It was like my last $1,700.
What the hell were you buying?
And now you're
It was a bunch of people. It wasn't just like me and George and Matt. It was like 9 or 10 people.
It's a sign. Now you're eating at 1700 Steakhouse.
See, it's because I listened to David's advice, and now I have money.
I paid. What are you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was your advice to let you pay. Now I have money.
Hey, watch the blueberry muffin. Come on.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that is gross. I'm not lying. I can power through most things. That was not good. Ugh.
Put some of the bourbon in it.
Yeah.
I don't drink alcohol.
That would be amusing if you did.
Drink alcohol?
Yeah. I could see you a little tipsy.
Yeah, I don't know. I get more social.
You never did, or you stopped?
I stopped. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it was a little weird if you never did.
If that's what makes David a little weird,
I've never done any drugs.
that's pretty
There you
cool.
go.
Yesterday.
Like marijuana, anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't know that those gummies that I was giving him were a little
I would
loaded.
have known. I would have been like, this made me feel weird.
I could not imagine. I would.
I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Were you a mean drunk?